Alright guys, so one of the most important parts of the game, if not the most important part, and that's the putts are about 4 feet in, okay? So when I was preparing for tournaments, I would putt probably about 5 times a week, and when I actually putted, I would spend about an hour at a time putting, and out of that hour, I would spend about 45 minutes on generally about a 4-foot putt, because I knew how important these were. Not only for to reduce your scores, but also mentally as well. Because at the end of your round, what do you really regret at the end of your round? It doesn't really come down to a missed drive or a missed iron shot. It always comes down to, geez, I wish I had a hold that putt. Okay, and holding that putt is generally within about 4 feet. Okay, so it's really good for your mental strength as well during the game of golf, and to make sure you're getting the most out of your golf game. So I've always been known as a very good putter, and particularly with short putts. So what I want to do with short putts is I use a basic drill that I've used for the last 20 odd years or so. Okay, this drill is, I put a club down parallel to my target. So a little bit like your normal swing, you'd have a club down a little bit left of your target, so it's parallel left. And what I'm trying to do here is I like to have about a handspan from the ball to the club. Okay? So basically I will be standing pretty much on that shaft, maybe a tiny bit back, okay? So I want to try and get perfectly parallel. So if I was to extrapolate the line from this club all the way to the hole, and I do a handspan here, I would have this club here, the actual shaft should be pointing just on that right edge of it. So it's perfectly parallel basically. Okay. So now, there's a few things I do when I set up to it. First thing I do is I get my grip. So my grip, I want my lines between my thumb and my finger, this line, and my bottom line pointing up to my chin, okay? I let my index finger sit out, just from the side there, and I slide my right hand up to the top of my left thumb, okay? So what you'll see here is that my index finger is sitting on the fingers of my right hand, okay? This is quite a conventional putting grip. There's different variations, obviously when you see on tour there's so many different variations, but a really good putting grip will still have those basic lines pointing up to your chin. So I have the index finger on my left hand just sitting on the my fingers on my right hand, so it's a very soft grip. Grip pressure, probably around a 3 out of 10. In grip pressure again, maybe even a little bit lighter. Now what I want to do guys is, it's all about setup for me. Everything's about setup. Okay, so I really get particular in how I set up to the ball. So I'm going to have the back of the ball in the middle of my stance. The way I can determine that is I do this. So once I'm set up, I go like that. This should be right in the center. Okay, so that's pretty good. I might just shuffle a tiny bit to the right there. This should form like a perfect T-shape. So the back of the ball is in the middle of my stance. My feet roughly shoulder width apart. Okay, so that's the first priority in your setup. Okay. The next priority is to make sure your putter head is square. Now how do I do that? Well, I use the same shaft here, and I go right where I think it's square. I go right. I have a look at that, and when I feel like it's square, I drag the putter head back to the shaft, and that should be sitting perfectly flat on that shaft there. And if it is, I'm perfectly aiming straight at the hole, okay? So they're two main things that I really look at is ball position, nice back of the ball in the middle of my stance, feet shoulder width. Now the other thing I try and do is make sure everything is parallel. I make sure my shoulders are parallel, so I actually even sometimes do this. I make sure my shoulders are, my toes, my knees, and my hips are all parallel, aiming just left of the hole, okay? Should be aiming on the line of this shaft. So all these things that I will put into practice and make sure I do it over and over again. And it's interesting because I saw, because usually on the golf course, sometimes if I'm not putting that great, I'll actually have a look at where my shoulders are pointing. And sometimes my shoulders might be pointing a little bit too close to the right. So I've really got to make sure my shoulder line is still good. Now, Cameron Smith is arguably the best putter in the world right now. And they went up to him and interviewed him on the putting green, the practice putting green. They said, well, what do you do? He said, and why she asked, it seems like you're doing something interesting with your shoulders every time you get up to it. And Karen kind of does the same thing, kind of like does this with your shoulders. So it's very interesting to see that his is very, very similar the way he sets up to it. He really makes sure that his body is nice and parallel to the target, particularly his shoulders. Okay, nice police fire truck going by there. Alright guys, so once we've done that, we want to have our elbows. Elbows kind of cocked out to the side like that, just here. Now all I want to do now is rock my shoulders back and through, okay? So rock the shoulders, back and through. Rock the shoulders, back and through, okay? Now with putting, I'm trying to have the same speed, same tempo of my stroke back and through as well. I'm not trying to go slow back then fast through. It's all the same tempo, all the way through. And this is for every length putt, so no matter what length you have, always the same speed of your stroke, the same tension in your hands. The only thing that changes is the length of your stroke. Okay, so the other thing I'm thinking about over this putt is how far I should take the putter back. Okay, so roughly, sometimes you might see me even do something like this. I might go 1, 2. It's roughly a 2-step putt. And I know that's pretty simple to kind of see, oh, it's pretty short putt, you don't really need to do that. I kind of like to just jog my memory and go, oh, it's a 2-step putt, okay, I need to take it this far back, for example, okay? All right, so now, once we establish that, we've got our elbows out. Okay, we're using our shoulders back and through. Same length back, same length through. Have the putter head slightly forward of the putter as well. So, sorry, make sure the grip is slightly forward of the putter head, all right? So make sure it's slightly forward, not too far forward, okay? And now from here, we have our hands just in front of the putter and use our shoulders, same length back, same length through, okay? Now, when we do our putting stroke, we don't want any wrist movement, okay? Keep your wrists basically in the same position. You just want to use our shoulders back and through. So your left wrist angle, this should be the same all the way through your stroke. The same left wrist angle. All right, guys, so now we sit up to it, go into it. Go into it here. Now, I aim my top face nice and straight. Now I'm going to check it. So check it down here. Alright, so now I just want to go same length back swing, same length through swing. So swing back. Okay. This is what I would do for about 45 minutes straight. Now obviously, you may not have had that much time to work on your putting where you're going to spend, an hour a day, 5 days a week. But even if you had like 10 minutes, if you could just put a shaft down, get the same routine every single time, spend 10 minutes whenever you can, it'll make a huge difference in your game. All right guys, so that's the real explanation of what I do with my putting.